And good Wednesday afternoon. My name is Ryan Belmore, and I am the owner and publisher of WhatsUpNewp. And my good friend, Mr. Frank Prosnitz, joins me. How are you, Frank?
I'm doing fine, Ryan. How are you doing?
Good. We have a series of important conversations coming up. Today we are with the Newport School Superintendent. Tomorrow we have Newport Mayor Jean Marie Napolitano. And then we dive into the some politics next week and some election stuff as well.
Then a couple of others that I have to schedule. One is an author from the Westerly area, and this apple vineyard that we talked about. We're going to those guys are going to come on. We're going to hopefully broadcast that either from their tasting room or from their warehouse. I'm hoping the tasting room, but I do think we need to have a little bit of sample in front of us for that.
Well, and that sounds good. And I won't bring her up on the screen when I say this, so that way we don't get a reaction. But I wonder if we should be providing our guests of these interviews with some spiked cider or alcohol as well.
Not a bad idea.
Of course, not while at work and not at school or not at City Hall. But all right, so I'm going to let you take away the conversation here, Mr. Prosnitz.
Can't do that.
Absolutely not. Off hours. I have a way of starting things so awkward. Go ahead, Mr.
Well, Colleen, it seems like we did this just a month ago.
I know, exactly a month ago. You're right, Frank. You're right.
So much happens in between, and I guess the biggest question is, bingo, we're talking about merging again.
Yes, regionalization has been brought up again. Right now, it is not at the school department level. Right now, it is the city and town, city of Newport and town of Middletown, their respective leaders.
So I think
Insurance city manager have started having little chats and discussions. And they're kind of looking at the logistics. When we reached out at the last time about, I think it was 2.5, 3 years ago. At that time, we never had the opportunity to delve deeper into what that would mean or what it could look like. We just needed do you want to have a discussion or not? And at that time, people were not ready. And it looks like people may be ready right now.
So what changed? What happened that changed? Middletown Council turned it down before. They said they didn't want any part of it. And what changed since then?
Frank, I really can't answer that because I haven't been privy to the approach and the who and the why. Let's get together. If I had to guess, I would say it's the reality of the benefits as far as financial benefits, as far as what can happen with school building projects, for instance, as that's why we approached the other communities, reimbursement of up to about 80% of the total costs of your school building projects, as well as increases in housing aid, which is important for communities, taxpayers, just finances in general. And I think also at the same time, just the possibilities, I think that right there, the dollars do make a difference. But dollars make a difference not only in the savings and reimbursement, but it also presents an opportunities for schools to reallocate funds in different directions if you do get more reimbursement and savings. So in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, it could be a win-win for everyone. But again, that's only my opinion. I want to be really, really clear.
So I'm a little baffled as to why the schools aren't involved in the initial discussion now, but that's, I guess, a matter of process. But this comes too late for Newport to benefit from an 80% reimbursement for the current projects. Am I correct with that?
No, you are not.
Okay.
If we wind up, and if this does go that way, then as long as that decision has been made, as long as voters have made their voices heard, and we have moved forward before the Newport School District completes its projects, and that's by December of 2025, we would be eligible for that
also goes
reimbursement.
That also goes for whatever projects Middletown has on the table.
That is correct.
So we're talking about millions of dollars at stake here.
You're talking about a lot of money. Absolutely. And I think to your point and your wonder about why is it at the city level and the town level and not with the schools? Because a big part of that decision making is about governance. And and that was something I heard when I went before the different communities, and especially before Middletown, because there was a concern about the representation in a joint school committee. How many members would Newport have? How many members would Middletown have? Would there be some kind of MOA where maybe for 2 years, Newport has, I'm making this up, 5, Middletown has 4, and then 2 years later, Middletown has 5, or Newport has 4. That is, that's something that needs, the devil's in the details. And that's something that I believe both city and town leadership wants to be really, really clear before they go before the communities to explain what is possible and what's not possible. People move to communities for a reason, and part of it has to do with the education in the community along with other factors. But also, what's going to happen, for instance, if I live in Middletown, is my child going to Newport, or is my child going to go to Middletown? And I think those are the things the mechanics they want to work out. What I've read from the press releases is that from the press releases I've read, it appears, and it seems perfectly natural and normal, that the districts could maintain and sustain the setups they have now. I would imagine Middletown might go more towards a Newport model where it would have 1 elementary, 1 middle, and 1 high school, new schools. And Newport has fairly recently, built more modern, updated schools. The high school is the last one. So we could maintain, 2 high schools, just as they do in many communities throughout the state. 2 elementaries and 2 middle, which they have in larger school districts. So there's a lot of discussion from the governance perspective. I believe that the town leaders and city leaders really need to know better. And that's why they've charged their city manager and town manager to take a look at it. When we get to right now that we've got, like, I'll say the structure and the governance kind of worked out that we think may be palatable, let's now talk to the schools. What are the benefits the schools could see from this as far as programming, curriculum, et cetera? As it is, as you may know now, with our CTE programming and NACTech, we do have already a lot of Middletown, Portsmouth, Tiverton students at our high school. And we have students at Middletown and Portsmouth high schools because of CTE programming. So the high school scene may not change that much, but it will just be, maybe at the elementary PK through 8, there could be some changes if wanted by the communities. And this was something we had suggested when Newport thought about doing that, allow it to be choice and take it from there. Let residents have first options at the schools and the communities they live. And then if they wish to, attend the other one in the next district, then move it from there. But we'll see what happens.
And at this stage, it appears that the Rhode Island Department of Education is involved at least on an advisory and probably cheerleading basis.
I would certainly think they are, and I think your guess is 100% spot on.
And it looks like, or what you're saying from a Newport standpoint, it's almost like a 3-year window for this to get done in order to realize the savings that are possible.
Yes, it is. We are on a time. We are on a clock, and we do have a deadline. So for us, it is important, if this is going to become a reality, and a reality that benefits both communities, as well as the Newport community as far as reimbursement, we do need to start putting the wheels in motion and moving forward.
And am I correct to assume that in the end, this is a vote by the residents of both communities, a referendum?
Yes, that's why it's important that it will have to go on a ballot. I think, reality-wise, I don't know if it's possible for it to be on the 22 ballot in November, because there are parameters that everyone has to look at. You have to get up to the General Assembly, I believe it is, by late May, early June. It's just starting to be socialized in communities. And again, I defer to the city and town leaders that are having these discussions, and when they feel it may be possible to get it on the ballot. Because first, the town council and the city town council in Middletown, city council here in Newport have to approve it before it could even go up to the state. But I would imagine there needs to also be a lot of conversation with the school committees in both communities. And I know that outreach has not begun yet because they're doing preliminary work.
And it's probably much too early to judge any kind of reaction to this.
I think that's a fair statement. We have had people all along, especially, this is Rhode Island. It's our school systems are very parochial, where we're, very tied into our school mascots, our traditions, etc. And it was nice to read that, at least from the press release from both communities, they're mindful of that as they're going into these discussions, and they know it's important to keep that in part of the decision making, or at least in the discussions. How is this going to impact the community? Get a lot of a long, rich history and traditions in both communities, so we want to honor
what it
that.
Seems is that the way it reads, it seems like both systems would be able to maintain their own sports teams and things like that. Would be very interesting to see how this evolves over time. And this is a big step, though, because it got beyond the stage of one town shutting down the other and saying, we're just not going to talk about it.
Yeah, never say never. Never say never.
I will tell you that when I was a reporter for the Journal, I went out to lunch with the mayor of the city of Cranston, and I asked him, I said, are you going to run for governor? He said, well, I don't know, but you never say never. And Dupree ended up becoming governor for a few years. So it happens.
He did.
It happens. Lots of other stuff going on. Let me first go to you and ask you what's top of your mind.
Oh, top of my mind. We've got both the building projects. They're moving forward. Pell, we're looking forward to late August when that project will be complete. And the brick is up. The inside work has begun. They're starting to, do all the fine tuning and getting the walls up and everything else. We're excited about that. Rogers is big. Rogers, I think the schematic design was approved last week by Rhode, which is a biggie, meaning they accepted the design that we sent in and the landscaping we're looking at. We do have some hiccups as far as looking at the property in itself. We want to be very, very respectful of our neighbors around us. As we learned from Pell 1, neighbors were very concerned about water and drainage, and we want to continue, taking that information and seeing through that experience, making sure we keep our neighbors informed on what's going on. And we have different reports coming in on water drainage. We have soil. We've just had a geotechnical report done. We've looked at the different soil samplings around the property. We do know that behind our CTE building right now, where our track is, that that was at one time all the way from a former military operations kind of base type thing to a former dump site. That it's already been capped back there, that we have to be very careful if we put anything back there. So on Monday evening, the school building committee agreed to just keep it as a grassy field, which it is now, put some pavement around it for track practice, etc., and not go to the synthetic turf in that area, which a lot of high schools do because it makes it easier to use. Despite weather conditions, rain or anything else, you usually can still use that. So we're kind of in the nitty gritty of looking at the details as far as where we're able to put what projects, I'll say, on the campus alongside with the building, as well as the temporary parking, the new entrances we'll have for our students when they enter in August, September. The fencing we'll have put up. We'll have the auditorium being knocked down. We're going to have on Saturday, May 7th, we're going to have a Rogers Community Day here for our Newport citizens and our alumni. And that's going to be the opportunity. I think it's going to start about around 9. At 8:30 in the morning, we may have like refreshments, etc. But it's going to be the opportunity for kind of like one last walkthrough for the public to see Rogers High School before we tear down the auditorium and start the work. We're actually contemplating selling some of the auditorium seats and the auditorium seating. We've had people inquire about that. So we're looking into that as well and trying to set up a process for people. Some people have actually written to us and they have special seats in the auditorium they would like to purchase.
The ones they fell asleep in.
I don't know. I don't know. I was very surprised when I received that email. So that's what's going on there. Good news is we're able to keep our gym up much longer than we thought. We thought we were going to have to knock down both the auditorium and the gym, but through the hard work of SLAM, Gilbane, Downs, our OPM, and I got to tell you, I've got the best two building co-chairs, Becky Bolin and Louisa Boatwright. Everyone worked together to try to put the building on a site that would allow us to keep the gym up as long as possible during this construction.
So logistically, how is this going to work? Ground gets broken when?
Friday, June 17th.
So then construction begins and the kids come back to school with
right after Labor Day, right?
And so the school will be at least intact enough for them to go back and be in the current Rogers High School.
Correct. We'll have fencing all around. We'll have new traffic patterns as far as for buses and cars. We'll have makeshift parking lots. And we'll have fencing around all the construction that's going on with Gilbane.
Will there be a point where the building is unusable and you'll have to try and relocate students to another area?
No, not at this time. At this time, and for your audience and you can probably hear the clanging going on in my background. That is my heat trying to come on. We're moving out of here. And makeshift classrooms are going to actually occur here and down the hall. My central office has been moved out, and that's why you also see empty bookcases behind me. And we'll be temporarily relocating in other places throughout the district.
Pretty exciting. I mean, all this stuff happening is pretty exciting. And
yes.
You feel among the students a certain excitement that things are happening within the town and within the school system. There's nothing more than you look at construction, you look at all this stuff, it may have nothing to do with what's being taught in the classroom, but it's got to create a certain energy.
It does create an energy. It's exciting, but going back to the classroom instruction, we're also trying to keep our focus on that as well. We know that very soon, and very soon is within the next 2 weeks, we have the RICAS testing starting for children in grades 3 through 8. So we keep reminding everyone we got to keep our focus on teaching and learning. And then for the, I believe it's 10th and 11th graders on April 13th, they'll have their PSAT and SAT tests. So April is a really busy month, April and May, for our students as far as that required state testing. So we also keep that going in front of us. Last week we had, it was last week, yes, we had the last, or 2 weekends ago, we had the last performance in the Rogers High School auditorium. That was great. Thank you to Peter Core, our Rogers teacher, and the Middletown Drama Club. The two high schools joined together and they did Little Shop of Horrors, and it was amazing. So we have a lot of memories in that auditorium over there. So that's been going on. We have the May Community Day. The groundbreaking will be coming up soon. Graduation will be happening June 9th, I believe. It's a Thursday night. And then, so we have this the typical high school stuff all going on, and it's a busy time of year. Once that April vacation, that spring break happens.
I know some of the kids were behind as a result of online learning and all of that, and that was a priority at not only of Newport, but I think around the state to try and catch the kids up. How are we doing?
We're doing okay. I think last time, it's interesting, last time you asked me, you said, how are the kids doing? And at that point I was like, oh, they're doing well. They're, they seem to, be getting back into the routine, and they are. But we are seeing some, challenged in the sense of they're not school. They're not used to being in school. They're not used to structured environment. So we are going through that right now. As far as just trying to get the kids, remind them you're in school now, you're not outside, and those kind of things. I think catching up, we will know. We have a new baseline based on that testing we did last year. And we'll see where hopefully we'll improve from there. We had a lot of students that were being challenged in the math, and especially in the math area. And that's our focus right now. We're building out a strategic plan and focus for the next 2 years, primarily on math. We just have selected and implemented a new reading program. It's in its first year at our elementary level. We just selected a new reading ELA program for our grades 6 through 12 curriculum. That will be implemented next year. And I can't thank the teachers enough for all their hard work and the reviews, working with the Department of Ed, the math for the middle school and high school. Middle school has theirs in, and the high school is now looking at their math programs. So we've got a lot of work going on.
I was wondering, around the state, we have had, and particularly in South Kingstown and in Westerly, where we've had this little ugliness that's appeared in an attempt to ban books from the libraries. One particular book, but we know around the country it has been some amazing works, classics that people want to have taken off the shelves. Has any of that happened in Newport? And how do you personally react to that?
Okay, so I'm surprised about that kind of behavior and reaction. We have not. I feel very lucky, fortunate. We have not had that problem here in Newport. If anything, we're trying to celebrate all types of literature, and we are trying, especially in our reading programs, trying to make sure we hear many different voices and different perspectives as far as writers. But we haven't had that challenge yet here in Newport.
Colleen, anything else that you think is important to add this morning? This afternoon.
This afternoon. Let's see. I think our school building projects are great. We have our budget is coming up. That's going to be an interesting process. We'll be before the city council soon for our budget request. And we're hoping we can create a sustainable funding process with the city. We have had our ESSER 3 application. I think we were one of 6 that were fully approved in the state for our ESSER application. So I want to thank Director Gonzalez. He's done an amazing job with the leadership team, getting that in and getting it on time and getting it approved. So we'll start focusing on ESSER 3 funding in a month or two. Right now, we're looking at and analyzing the work we've done, the work we've done with the ESSER 2 funding. We'll be reporting out on that at our April vacation. Different community partners. I believe we're going to have Boys and Girls Club that night. We've had Fab Newport, Martin Luther King Center. One of our partners is an amazing partner, has done so much good work. As a matter of fact, the programs they've implemented during the reading have helped to sustain the reading levels or help to improve the reading levels of the children during the summer. Everybody always worries about summer reading loss. And our R3 initiative, which the Newport Partners for Families, with help from, I believe it's the United Way, have really helped us step up, especially during the COVID learning loss time. So we're looking forward to that. Summer programming is underway because of the Pell construction. All our Pell programs will be at Thompson Middle School this year. So all the directors will be reaching out to families on that. Our Rogers programs will be able to continue throughout the summer here. Our spring sports is underway. You have visitors.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually going to run to the door and tell them to hold on for a minute.
Well, Ryan's here now.
I will listen to you.
So so we've got a lot going on. We're very lucky. Everyone's looking forward to warmer weather, definitely, after this sudden cold spell that hit us the past 2 days. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
We are getting there. Last day of school is coming flying up on us, right?
Correct. Now I'm getting an interruption. I work in a school building.
It's okay. We can.
No homework help today. Everyone get on the bus. June 17th is our last day of school. So, yeah.
So last day of school and construction starts on the same day?
The groundbreaking is that day. That was purposeful. We want to make sure we can have our students and staff and everyone there. And then
Excellent.
On June 20th, they start over here on Rogers, and Pell will then move to the inside interior of Pell 1. We're doing some construction inside that building with a new welcome center at that building. So we've got a lot of construction going on this summer.
And it sounds like we all have a lot going on. So,
yes. Yes.
I think so.
Yes. But Colleen, thank you so much for taking the time.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I
I
appreciate the time.
just want to add real quickly how appreciative we are that you spend this time with us each month and you give an opportunity for our viewers to get an update on what's going on, and also for being as candid as you are with some of our questions that I think we're gentle enough, but
Yeah, they are. You're good. You're nice to me. I appreciate that.
well, we appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you.
All
right. Take
Colleen,
care.
thank you
Everyone
very
be
much.
safe.
Mr. Prosnitz, we are with the mayor tomorrow at lunchtime at noon.
We are. Are you bringing the lunch, or is she bringing the lunch?
Maybe we'll have a little bangers and mash from her recent trip to Kinsale, Ireland. So
Really interested about hearing about that.
it's either that or we can have a Guinness while we chat with her.
Works for me.
All right. Mr. Prosnitz, thanks for bringing this and hosting this conversation today.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks. And on behalf of Frank Prosnitz and myself, as I cut him short, I want to thank Superintendent Colleen Jermain for joining us today. She joins us every month around this time. If you miss any portion of this conversation, you can catch it online on WhatsUpNewp.com. It's also on Facebook. Send us your questions. If you have a question, comment, concern, anything like that, email us. They cannot be anonymous, but you can email me at ryan@whatsupnewp.com. We'd be happy to get an answer for you. Coming up tomorrow, which would be Thursday, the 31st of March, we will have Mayor Jean Marie Napolitano. Thanks for watching.